Hey YouTube, it's Corlash1990, and today I am bringing you all an updated deck tech for my Deathspeaker deck. This is the updated list after Gothic has been out. I have pretty much everything I need for the deck from Gothic outside of one card, and it's an Atlas card, so I'll get into it when we get to the card. So I do use a collection. I'll go over this at the end of the video, what this stack is and how you use it and all that fun stuff. So again, running Deathspeaker, again, showing off my cool foil one. Not going to go into Deathspeaker itself. Let's see, where's the less glare at there? Because I've kind of read this card like 1,000 times now, and people should probably know what Deathspeaker does at this point. So start by going over the Atlas, then over the Spellbook. So for the Atlas, we have the usual stuff. The Geistwood, again, making your Genesis abilities trigger on Deathrite. The 2 Wizard's Den for card draw. And if your opponent attacks this, you discard a spell. We don't care about that. We actually want to be milling cards in our spellbook into our cemetery. This deck is now officially called Self Mill. I took out the Mortal Sacrifice theme, which is that's a whole separate deck in of itself, I think. So there's a lot of self mill stuff in here because Gothic was awesome and gave us a lot of cards like that. Run 2 Crossroads, the search for our Geistwood. We have Glastonbury Tor. I am now running Earth in this deck, so this Tri-Site, helps us with our affinity thresholds and whatnot. Run a 3 copy of Ruins, which is the Fire Air. 3 copies of Windmill, which is Earth Air, and 3 copies of Steep, which is the Fire Earth. So we really, really want to hit our thresholds, and maxing out on our efficiency on that I think is pretty key. Also 2 Valley of Delight to choose whatever we need it for. Running a Wormlow Tump because our deck is quite susceptible to cemetery hate, and there is a lot of it now in Gothic, so I think this card is going to be an absolute staple for Deathspeaker going forward. 2 Forgotten Tomb, this is the one I'm missing a copy of, so I'm just running a copy of Cursed Land. But what Forgotten Tomb does, it's an Earth site, and it says Genesis, search your top 5 spells for a minion, discard it, and then you bottom the rest. So filling up our discard pile with good Genesis minions. And here is another reason why I'm running Earth. It's a Shallow Grave. It says Genesis, discard your top 2 spells. So this essentially translates to draw 2 cards for free. You're actually gaining a mana and drawing 2 cards. I'm running the Orifice's Crossing in here. I don't know how good this site is. I think it is quite funny and flavorful and thematic, so I am definitely running it. But it says Genesis, you're on death's door until your next turn. Summon a dead minion here. So it's a free reanimate spell, essentially. I was running the... I forgot the name of the card, but it's in beta, and everyone can summon a dead minion there. I replaced it with this because this provides an air threshold, and I think this ability is just really funny. You could swap them in and out. We're running air, so we're running 2 copies of Observatory, obviously. I have 1 copy of each of the 3 towers. There's another site that's like a tower, but it doesn't provide a threshold. I'm choosing not to run it. I think these are just fine. And then to round out the sites, I'm running River of Flame because having a fire spellcaster is quite neat. So that is the Atlas. Again, very straightforward. We mainly just care about our thresholds, but our Earth sites grant us some very cool self-mill options there. Now we'll get into the spellbook proper, and I'll go over all of the minions first, which this deck is mostly minions. These are all of our non-minion cards, which is not very many. This whole chunk, all minions. So, Death Dealer, again, if you're running Deathspeaker, you're running Fire, you're running Death Dealer. Being able to wrath the board on Genesis is quite good. Running 3 copies of Hot Wheel. Genesis rolls forward 2 steps, striking another unit at each location it enters, and it's a 2 power. So it's like a more expensive Vile Imp, but it has some range in what it can do and potentially kill 2 things. Again, 4 Vile Imp. If you're running Deathspeaker, running Fire, you're running Vile Imp. I am running 4 copies of Flare, 1 for the art. The art in this is exceptionally good. 4 cost, 3 power. Genesis, deal 1 damage to each other nearby unit. So this does damage to everything nearby. I'm mainly running these because I think Necromancer is going to be all over the place. Necromancer is a very, very good avatar, I think. And I imagine a lot of people are going to be running it, especially because it is a avatar that comes in the precons, so having some Necromancer hate is good. I have more Necromancer hate in the deck as well. 2 copies of Grandmaster Wizard, because again, if you're running Deathspeaker, you're running air, you're running all of the card draw stuff. It's like 3 copies of Sisters of Avalon, discard a spell, draw a card. It's essentially the card you discard you're going to have access to anyway, and then you're drawing another card, so you're not really losing any value. 4 copies of Apprentice Wizard, because Genesis draw spells great. And here's some of the new stuff I'm adding. So I'm adding 2 copies of Master Necromancer, and while this and Novice Necromancer are kind of nombos with this, I think the 3 power with this minion is really, really useful because the overall power level of this deck is quite low, but I think Necromancer is going to be that problematic. Well, not problematic. It's going to be that good and that well seen that having some answers to it is good, but I also want to create minions of my own as well. So he creates a skeleton token to each adjacent location, right? Yes, not adjacent, not nearby. And then Novice Necromancer creates a skeleton token here, so some token generation. I'm also running 3 copies of Skeleton Mage. It is a spellcaster, 2 cost, 1 power. On Genesis, may cast an ordinary magic from a cemetery, banishing it afterwards. It's from a cemetery, so if your opponent is playing cards of your colors, you can cast stuff from their stuff if it's ordinary. Most of our magic spells, I think, if not all of them, are ordinary, so we can get some double value. The idea behind this deck is everything that we mill, we want to have access to regardless if it's in the discard pile. There's a couple of cards we can't, but for the most part, we want to have full access to everything at all times. Another reason why I ran Earth is because of Cemetery Rats. 1 cost, 1 power, burrowing. On Genesis, discard your top 2 spells. So it basically reads on Genesis, draw 2 cards. So very, very good minion. And since we're running Earth, and since Geistwood is that important, I am also running 4 copies of Land Surveyor, 2 cost, 1 power, Genesis draw a site. If we can draw into our Geistwood, it really makes this deck go nuts when you have Geistwood and Deathspeaker on top of it. This next chunk of minions is all stuff that can be cast from the cemetery. So I am running 1 Hexham Haunts. I mean, it's unique, so I can only run 1, but 3 cost, 3 power, airborne, burrowing. So it being burrowing is good because it's a little harder to kill. Airborne makes it that much more harder to kill. And it says, must be cast burrowed, but may be cast from the cemetery. So we are going to be milling like crazy, especially to get early cemetery rats. So being able to have minions that we can play off of being milled is great. Same with the 2 copies of Reoccurring Spectre, 2 drop 1 power, can't defend, may be cast from your cemetery. So again, we want to max out on value as much as possible. We are playing Deathspeaker, so obviously Nimbus Chin is an auto include in this deck. It's one of our endgame finishers. 6 cost, 4 power, airborne. Discard a spell, deal 3 damage to another random unit here. So it's really good if we're on top of our opponent's avatar. And everything here can be discarded and be replayed. So yeah, pretty good. This is a new card I'm testing out. It is I Am Colossus. You can't forget the exclamation mark there. 10 cost, 10 power. This is a big chonker right here. It is an automaton. You may banish minions under your control or from your hand or cemetery to help cast the Colossus. It costs 1 less to cast for each. So we will be milling a ton of stuff, right? It's very rare that we're actually going to be casting all of this stuff again with Deathspeaker. So there's going to be a lot of stuff just sitting in our discard pile because you can only use Deathspeaker once per turn. I Am Colossus adds added value to the stuff we are not casting while also offering an endgame minion. Like 10 power is no frickin' joke, and the fact that you can play it for pretty cheap, I think is quite relevant. So anyway, that is all of the minions. Again, that is like 2/3 of the deck, if not like 3/4 of the deck, is all minions. It's a very important part to this deck. Next, we'll go over all of the non-minion stuff. We have a 4 copy of Ghost Fire. And Ghost Fire is just a simple 1 mana shoot a projectile that deals 1 damage, and then you may cast this from your cemetery, banishing it afterwards. Cheap little burn, but again, it's a card that can be cast after being milled. Is running 4 of them too much? Probably. I'm still testing it out, but I'm liking it. I think that card's pretty good. Next, I'm also running 4 copies of Murder of Crows. Say 3 cost. This is ordinary, obviously. This obviously is ordinary too. Deal 1 damage to all enemy minions on the surface. You may cast this from your cemetery, banishing it afterwards. So again, good Necromancer hate. And can be cast after being milled. I am running 4 copies of Minor Explosion. However, I am testing another card. Do I have it available to the side here? Yes, I do. One sec. So, Detonate. So I am debating taking Minor Explosions out for Detonate. So Minor Explosion's cool because it's an easy out to just end the game. It is ordinary, so a Skeleton Mage can play it. Doing 3 damage to everything at a site is quite good. But I'm debating on running Detonate. It's also ordinary, but it only costs 1, and it doesn't require steps or like projectiles or nearby or whatever. You just destroy a minion or an artifact you own or control, and it explodes, dealing 3 damage to each unit at its location. So any of our minions, wherever they're at, this will be able to be cast from. So it has farther range, because Deathspeaker doesn't really move all that much in game. Towards the later games, it's going to be moving, but you're also kind of close to the Death's Door, so it's a little risky. This offers more potential reach, so I don't know which one I'd rather play. I'm going to be testing them in and out, though. But either way, this 4-card slot is more directed burn to win when our opponent's on Death's Door. And then finally, we're running Earth, so we are running for Common Sense. The Skeleton Mage can cast Common Sense, which is huge because a big chunk of our deck is ordinaries. In fact, I'll just stack all the ordinaries out so you can see for yourself how many ordinaries Common Sense searches for. It is kind of a stupid large amount of cards. Let's see that. And that. Those are all the ordinaries that Common Sense can search for. That is huge. And then essentially running 7 of them because of the Skeleton Mage. Yeah, very, very good. There's a lot of tutor options on top of the huge amount of cards we're already going to be drawing in this deck, or milling. You might actually need to pay attention to hopefully not milling yourself. I think that's a huge thing that can happen. I already get close to it before all of these self-mill cards from Gothic, but that is definitely something to be mindful of when playing this deck. And yeah, that is the spellbook and the atlas here. So this is the deck. This is a self-mill. It definitely does what the deck's name is. It mills the crap out of itself, draws a ton of cards, reuses everything you're milling. It's just value town deck, essentially. So now for the end of the deck, what this chunk of cards is, it is 2 silver bullets, 3 toolbox, and then a 10-card collection. So this list is what I'm going to be playing here at home, like very laid back, casual, all that fun stuff. If I want to take this deck to a cornerstone event, what I'm going to do, and you can say this is bad or good or however you want, I don't really care. But essentially, my collection is a bunch of very good, just one of stuff that answers a lot of variety of things. It's like a very open sideboard, well, toolbox full of silver bullets. So what I would do is you can either go through the deck and pick 5 cards that you don't want. Maybe you can trim down like some Ghost Fires and some Murderer Crows, maybe like 3 Murderer Crows and 2 Ghost Fire. Add these 5 cards in, because these 5 cards all access your collection. Toolbox can be sacrificed to cast an ordinary spell from your collection. There's a lot of good ordinaries. Silver Bullet can be sacrificed to cast an exceptional spell from your collection, which we have some pretty good ones. But what I'm going to do, which is probably the bad thing to do, I'm just going to take these 5 cards and just add them straight into my 60-card deck to have a 65-card deck, and then have access to all of these good Silver Bullet cards. So what are these Silver Bullet cards? So the 2 that are legitimately here for Silver Bullet are Poison Nova, because it's a good get-out-of-jail-free type card, and Kiss of Death is just an answer to anything big that we can't handle, which, again, the power level of our deck is quite low, so having a catch-all, be-all removal spell that's near our avatar, we do have some undead and spirit stuff in here, so that could be relevant, but it's mainly if there's something close to our avatar, we can just play this and get rid of it. And then for the toolbox, we have Blink, which is a good get-out-of-jail-free card, some free movement. We have Carrion Beetles for other decks that care about the cemetery. We have Exorcism for some good old demon and undead removal. We have Vandal Imp to get rid of pesky artifacts. We have Disenchant to get rid of artifacts and auras. We have Zap just to kill our opponent on death's door because it just simply says deal 1 damage to target unit. That's anywhere. There's no range for this at all. So if they're on death's door, Zap will just kill them. We have Gift of the Serpent for more lethal goodness and a draw card as well. And then we have another catch-all removal spell with Bury. So that is the collection, right? Yeah, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yes, collection. We have all of the stuff that can cast those cards from the collection that we can just shove into our deck. Or if you want to build this exact list, you can remove 5 cards, add these 5 cards in if you're wanting to be quote unquote a little more competitive versus the casual at home vibes. But anyway, that is my Deathspeaker deck. I'm so happy Gothic gave us everything that I was hoping for Deathspeaker. It changed this deck completely, and I really think it just drove it home. Gave us all of the self-mill stuff that we were needing. That's something I was hoping we would get. And it's not overly crazy. It's not like Glimpse the Unthinkable where you're milling 10 cards. You know, just 2 here, 2 there. Searching the top 5 to mill 1. We have some good, beefier minions that also answer a wide variety of problems. You know, Hot Wheel being really good too. And this Master Necromancer, Skeleton Mage is a huge one. I Am Colossus is this kind of a fun little card, tech card. And I think these are going to be quite good too. I had cut the Panoptic manuscripts for I Am Colossus. So if you don't want to run this, you can run the manuscripts and then just feed the manuscripts to these guys. They read it, they draw a card, they die, and then you just replay them. They pick up the book again and they rinse and repeat every turn. Quite good. Yeah, that is the deck. Let me know down below what you think of it. Again, Deathspeaker is my favorite avatar, my favorite deck in this game. So this is one I will always be doing update deck tech videos for because I am just that passionate about Deathspeaker. So yeah, let me know down below what you think of it, what you would change, if you're running Deathspeaker, like what kind of lists you're running, all of that fun stuff. And make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that usual YouTube whatevers. And until next time, I will catch you all later. See ya.